Say these 3 words, and people will listen, and you will attract anyone you want. You speak every single day. You greet people, exchange ideas, share your thoughts. But have you ever noticed that some people command attention the moment they open their mouths, while others are completely ignored? Why do certain phrases land deeply and actually influence, while others vanish the second they're spoken? Every word you choose shapes the way others see you. Some words open doors, others slam them shut. You think you're speaking freely, but your words are actually your first judges. The ancients used to say, "Speak little, but speak well." 3 carefully chosen words can reverse any situation, spark genuine admiration, and capture the attention of absolutely anyone. But you have to know which ones. And what about you? What do you say every day? "Hey, how are you?" A hollow, mechanical phrase, forgotten the moment it leaves your lips. Do you honestly believe that the people who succeed in life speak the same way everyone else does? Those who truly captivate others understand that every single word is a weapon. There are words capable of triggering immediate attention, words that pull people in irresistibly. You're probably using the wrong ones right now, without even realizing it. But what if you could flip that dynamic and master the words that actually hold attention? In this video, we're going to explore powerful principles drawn from Stoic philosophy and the psychology of influence. But before you learn these 3 words, you need to understand the weight of every term you speak, the way it resonates inside the mind of whoever is listening. That is the key. Then you'll be ready. Ready to discover 3 precise words, the ones that transform an ordinary conversation into something powerful and unforgettable. But these words won't be revealed right away. They'll be unveiled gradually, at exactly the right moment. If you leave too early, you'll only get a fragment of the truth. Without the principles that come before them, these 3 words will do absolutely nothing for you. But if you stay until the end, you'll understand why they work, how to use them, and why those who know them can captivate anyone, anywhere, at any time. So go ahead and hit the thumbs up button below. It's not just a like, it's a commitment. A statement that says, "I want to master the power of my words." Drop a comment, share your thoughts, and make sure you subscribe right now. Are you ready? Then listen closely and don't miss a thing. Let's start with the first rule. Words shape your reality. Words are not simply sounds that dissolve into the air. They sculpt your perception, mold your thinking, and determine your destiny. Those who understand this power rise. Those who ignore it remain forever enslaved to their own language. Seneca said, "We are what we repeat each day." And that includes not just our actions, but our words. Every sentence you speak is a program your mind records and then executes. You often say things like, "I'm exhausted," "I'm useless," "I'll never pull this off." You're engraving those truths into your subconscious, and without even noticing, you make them real. Look at the great orators, the ones who inspire entire movements. They don't simply talk. They build entire worlds through their words. Their sentences are never casual. They're chosen, refined, and calibrated to produce a specific reaction. What they say is not just speech, it's an act, a direction, a command. Imagine a man who tells himself every single day that he is destined for something greater. No matter what obstacles appear, no matter what doubts creep in, he sculpts his own self-image through language. By repeating it enough, he writes it into his reality. That's not magic. That's mental programming. Now look around you. How many people destroy themselves without even realizing it? They complain constantly. They diminish themselves, They repeat the same excuses over and over. Their words trap them in a vicious cycle they cannot escape. They don't understand that what they say out loud becomes their world. The Stoics understood this completely. They chose their words with discipline, avoided pointless complaints, and left nothing to chance. Because they knew that words precede actions, and actions forge destiny. If you want to change your life, start by changing your language. Stop saying anything that doesn't serve your power. Now let's move to the second rule. The words you choose shape how others see you. Perception is an illusion, but it is an extraordinarily powerful one. What you say immediately influences the way others judge you. One poorly chosen word, one badly constructed phrase, and you lose their respect in an instant. Epictetus said, "Before you speak, make sure your words serve a greater purpose than your silence." And yet, how many people speak without thinking, without weighing the real impact of what they're saying? They apologize too often. They justify their presence. They try to please rather than assert their truth. And because of that, they're perceived as weak. Watch charismatic people. Listen to them. They never say things like, "Sorry to bother you. I think maybe. Possibly. Perhaps." They speak with conviction, with clarity. Every word they say sends a subconscious signal. I am someone who knows exactly what they want. Picture two men. One says, "One day I'd kind of like to maybe try that." The other says, "I'm going to do it." Who inspires trust? Who radiates authority? The first one is asking permission to exist. The second one is asserting his existence. The only difference between them is a few words. But those words change everything. People don't judge you only by your actions. They judge you by how you speak, and they do it within seconds. One weak phrase, and you're immediately categorized. One powerful phrase, and you capture their attention, their respect, sometimes even their admiration. The Stoics never spoke to fill silence. They spoke to create impact. They understood that communication is not simply the transmission of information. It is an invisible war where every well-placed word is a victory. Let's now address the third rule. Some phrases open every door. Others close them forever. Human relationships are like a game of chess. Every phrase you speak is a move on the board. A miscalculated move can cost you the advantage. A well-chosen phrase can propel you toward victory. Marcus Aurelius said, "The quality of our life depends on the quality of our thoughts, and those thoughts are expressed through our words." You want to attract the right people, inspire trust, and capture attention? Then choose carefully what you say, and even more carefully what you don't say. Watch the people who get everything they want. They don't talk too much, but every word they speak is calibrated. They understand the importance of mystery, the strength of the implied, the impact of silence. On the other hand, those who talk too much expose themselves, reveal too much, and make themselves vulnerable. Think of a job interview. Two candidates. One dumps his entire life story on the table, trying to convince through sheer volume of words. The other chooses every word with precision, creates a sense of suspense, and demonstrates mastery. Who do you think gets remembered? The one who captivated with very little, or the one who got lost in an endless flood of words? It's not the quantity of words that impresses people. It's their quality. The best communicators know that one perfectly placed sentence can have more impact than 10 pointless speeches. They don't fill silence. They sculpt it. The Stoics taught the art of useful speech. Speak little, but speak right. Never say more than necessary. And above all, master the phrases that open every door. In the next part of this journey, we'll look at which phrases trigger trust, admiration, and instant respect. Because there are 3 precise words that very few people know, and they can literally transform your influence over others. Now let's move on to the 4th rule. The words you use either define your limits or break them. The words you speak are not merely a way of expressing yourself. They are a mirror of your deepest beliefs. Every phrase you repeat shapes your perception of the world. And more importantly, the perception you hold of yourself. Epictetus said, "It is not things that disturb men, but their opinions about things. And those opinions live inside your everyday language." People who say, "I can't," "I'm not capable," "I don't deserve this," they're not just talking, they're tightening their own chains. Every word becomes either a prison or a launching pad. Look at the people who succeed. They never use the language of limitation. They speak in terms of possibilities, solutions, and actions. Faced with a problem, they don't say, "It's impossible." They say, "What's the best way to get there?" Their way of speaking pushes them into motion, while others are trapped in resignation. Picture 2 men standing before an opportunity. One says, "I'm not sure I'm good enough for this." The other says, "This is a challenge, and I'm going to figure out how to rise to it." Which one has already won before he's even started? The difference isn't competence. It's how each one formulates his own reality. Words are mental programming. Those who constantly remind themselves they're weak, tired, or unlucky eventually build a life that mirrors those statements. Those who speak in terms of strength, growth, and mastery build an identity that nothing can shake. The Stoics knew this well. They never gave themselves the luxury of negative language. Every word they spoke served a function: to advance, to improve, to strengthen. Their secret: they never said anything that could hold them back. Change your language, and you will change your perception of the world. Replace weakness with power. Never again speak as a victim. Speak only as a builder. Let's now explore the 5th rule. Those who control words control minds. Words are not just sounds. They shape thought. Whoever controls language controls perception. And whoever controls perception directs reality. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul takes the color of the thoughts it dwells upon." But what very few realize is that those thoughts are often shaped by language from the outside world. The media, influencers, leaders, all of them use words to steer your ideas, your reactions, your emotions. Every carefully chosen phrase plants a belief and shapes an ideology. Look at how public speeches are constructed. Nobody tells you what to think directly. They give you the words that will lead you there on your own. Every debate is a game of semantics. Whoever controls the vocabulary controls the direction of the reasoning. Imagine a man who walks into a room and says, "I'm here to help you." Now imagine another who says, "I'm here to change things." 2 different formulations, 2 completely different impacts. The first inspires passivity. The second demands action. Great leaders, skilled manipulators, political strategists, they all master the art of language. They know that a simple word choice can trigger precise emotions. They play on fear, hope, and reassurance. Meanwhile, most people speak without thinking, without understanding that their own words can be turned against them. The Stoics never allowed themselves to be trapped by other people's language. They analyzed, questioned, and reframed. They never took any word at face value. They knew that words are weapons, and that you must carefully choose which ones you adopt and which ones you reject. Don't let anyone else define your reality for you. Master your words, and you'll reclaim control of your mind. Let's now address the 6th rule. Certain words trigger an immediate reaction in others. Everyone talks, but not everyone is heard. Why? Because some people know which words trigger an instinctive reaction, while others speak with no clear intention. Words are levers of action. Seneca said, "Whoever speaks with precision acts without effort," and that is the truth. Some people don't need to speak loudly or at length. A single sentence is enough to captivate an audience, plant an idea, or leave a permanent mark. Watch the advertisers, the negotiators, the great communicators. They never construct their phrases by accident. Every word is a trigger designed to produce a specific emotion: urgent, forbidden, exclusive, revealed, secret. These are not just words. They are mental mechanisms that fire an immediate response. Imagine someone trying to convince another person to act. They could say, "You should try this." Or they could say, "If you do nothing, you risk losing everything." Which phrase creates instant urgency? The second one, because it activates a deep psychological lever: the fear of missing out. The words you use can excite, calm, intrigue, or repel. They can give you power or strip it away. Most people speak without ever thinking about the effect their sentences have. That is why they capture no one. The Stoics used language that was simple but surgical. They avoided unnecessary flourishes, empty speeches, and pointless exaggeration. Every word was a strategic choice. They knew that the right word, said at the right moment, could turn an entire situation around. You want people to actually listen to you? Learn to use words like a strategist. Stop speaking just to speak. Speak to trigger a reaction. Let's now move to the seventh rule. The first word that captures attention instantly. Some words are not ordinary. They don't simply exist inside a sentence. They provoke an immediate reaction in the mind of whoever hears them. They are not magic words, but deep psychological triggers hardwired into us. Seneca said that everything is perception, and what we believe to be real only becomes real because we perceive it that way. This means our perception is malleable, and a well-placed word can instantly transform the way someone listens to you. Watch those who captivate the moment they speak. It's not their voice or their body language that makes them so compelling. It's the way they construct their sentences to produce an immediate reaction. And it all begins with one precise word. A word that grabs attention and forces the other person to listen. Imagine an ordinary conversation. You say, "Hey, how are you?" And someone answers on autopilot, "Fine, you." Nothing happens. The exchange is flat, hollow, no real connection. But if instead of that routine, you start your sentence with the word imagine, the entire dynamic shifts. That word forces the mind to project forward. It compels whoever hears it to visualize a scene, to activate their imagination, to open their attention to what comes next. It takes hold of the thought in a fraction of a second, and there's no resisting it. The greatest orators, the master communicators, the architects of persuasion, they all use imagine because it immediately pulls the listener into a scenario they cannot ignore. It's no longer a simple discussion, it's an immersion. The listener is no longer just receiving information, they're experiencing it from the inside. The Stoics didn't speak to fill silence, they spoke to direct thought. They understood that every word could serve as a lever, one that transforms the way you are perceived. Use imagine at the right moment in a conversation, and you'll immediately change the way people listen to you. You'll see eyes lock in, faces come alive, and minds swing wide open. Let's now explore the eighth rule, the second word that creates an instant bond. The first word captured attention. The second word builds a connection. It's not enough for someone to hear you. They need to feel something. They need to feel involved. Epictetus said that if you want to be understood, You must speak to the soul, not just to the ears. Too many people speak only to inform. But the true communicators speak to create a bond, to provoke an emotion that makes the other person feel personally concerned. Watch the speeches that have shaped history. They don't just present an idea. They touch something deep inside us. They awaken memories, emotions, buried convictions. That power very often comes from one precise word, a word that transforms a message into an intimate truth. That word is, you know. This expression completely shifts the mindset of whoever hears it. They no longer receive information as a neutral phrase. They feel personally involved, almost like a co-conspirator. The moment you say, you know, the other person stops being a passive observer. They become an active participant in the exchange. Picture a salesperson who says, "This product performs well." Now picture them saying, "You know, this product could genuinely change the way you work." The impact is completely different. The sentence no longer delivers cold, distant data. It becomes a shared reflection, one the listener cannot help but respond to internally. Saying "you know" in a conversation creates immediate emotional resonance. It pushes the other person to think, "Yes, I understand exactly what he means." The Stoics grasped the importance of speaking with closeness. They didn't address faceless crowds. They spoke to the soul of each individual. They made sure every word landed deeply. Add "you know" to your conversations and notice the difference. You'll no longer be speaking at strangers. You'll be speaking to minds that finally feel like they matter. Let's now address the 9th rule, the 3 words that leave a lasting mark. You now have the first 2 words. The last one completes the equation, because it's not just about capturing attention or forging a connection. It's also about triggering movement, an action, a commitment. Marcus Aurelius said that words must be weighed carefully, and that a powerful speech must not simply be interesting, but must drive people to act. A well-built message must not just captivate, it must provoke an immediate reaction, a mental trigger that compels action. The 3rd word is simple, but it functions like a devastating psychological lever. That word is because. This word has an immediate effect on the mind. It creates a justification, a reason to accept what has just been said. Human beings need logic. They need cause and effect. The moment you add because, you automatically guide your listener's thinking, and you make it easier for them to reach a decision. Look at these 2 sentences. First, "You should try this." Second, "You should try this because it will genuinely simplify your life." The second sentence is not fundamentally different in content, and yet it is far more convincing, simply because it gives a reason. In conversation, people accept an idea much more easily when it's followed by because. The mind doesn't like the unknown. It seeks structure. The moment you offer an explanation, people are naturally inclined to follow that reasoning. Imagine a conversation where you want to captivate someone completely. You could say, "Imagine that a year from now, you're further ahead than you've ever been. You know, it all starts with a single choice, because every decision you make today defines exactly who you'll become tomorrow." Or, imagine if you could build a deeper connection with the people around you. You know, certain phrases completely shift a social dynamic, because what you say directly shapes the way others perceive you. These 3 words, imagine, you know, and because, work together to capture attention, create genuine connection, and naturally guide thinking toward a favorable outcome. The Stoics understood that communication is not just about ideas. It's about structure. Use these 3 words, and you'll feel the difference immediately. The way you speak will never be the same, and neither will the way people respond to you. You'll stop going unnoticed. You'll start captivating. You'll start leaving marks in people's minds and transforming every single conversation into a real opportunity. Throughout this journey, you've discovered how 3 simple words can completely transform the way you communicate. These are not language tricks. They are powerful levers anchored deep in human psychology, used instinctively by those who know how to shape their reality. Imagine instantly captures attention and forces the listener to visualize. You know creates an immediate bond, an invisible complicity that makes your message feel personal and unavoidable. Because provides a reason, a justification that drives agreement and prevents instinctive rejection. The Stoics understood the weight of words. They knew that every phrase could guide or mislead, strengthen or weaken, attract or repel. They never spoke to fill space. They spoke to shape their world. If you've always felt like you weren't being heard, like you weren't having the impact on the people around you that you wanted, now you know exactly why. It's not your voice. It's not your appearance. It's not even your intelligence. It's the way you structure your words. You want your voice to matter. You want people to actually listen to you, respect you, and remember you. Then apply what you've learned here. Test these 3 words in your conversations. Weave them into your everyday language. Watch what they do. If this has given you a new perspective, hit the thumbs up right below this video. It's not a simple click. It's a personal commitment. A declaration that says, I want to master my words. Leave a comment about what hit you hardest. Share your thoughts. And above all, subscribe right now. Because there is one thing you need to carry with you from this moment forward. Master your words and watch how the world finally starts listening.